I picked up my cards and played an 8. "Could be it had something to do with Thane's daughter, Julie," I said. "She had eyes for Billy, and the feeling was mutual. I figure Thane wanted Billy off the ranch." Glenn played a 7 on my 8 and pegged 2 points. I could feel his eyes on me like sunbeams through a magnifying glass. "Say more," he said. "I also figure Thane wanted Billy to be plumb certain he wasn't welcome at the M Cross, so he had Waco and Red make that message crystal clear." I paired Glenn's 7 and scored 2 points myself. "That's what I figured too," Glenn said. "Waco and Red admitted they rode with him to Dry Creek, but that was all. I couldn't prove they'd worked him over, and Billy just kept saying he'd been in a fight with friends. Strange kind of fight, though. When I took Billy down to Doc Taggart's that day, he had cuts and bruises from one end to the other, even had a broken nose. You want to know the one part of him that wasn't beat up? His knuckles, Merlin. Waco and Red beat hell out of that boy, but he didn't fight back. I figure they didn't give him the chance. But if you know, law don't care what I know, law cares what I can prove. But I'm a patient man. Someday, sometime, Thane McAllister will have to account for that beating." Glenn played a third 7 and pegged 6 points. "Go," I told him, and darned if he didn't play the case 7 for 12 points and another one for go. Cribbage just isn't my game. The following day I was back playing cards with Glenn again. That's the day I told you about when Delbert Snodgrass rode off into the gumbo and Glenn volunteered me to fetch him back. As you may recall, Delbert mentioned Billy Christmas at that time and asked if I'd met him. That's when I wandered off the main trail, made a short story long, and told you pretty much all I knowed about Billy, Thane McAllister, and Julie. The rain eased off to a drizzle and finally quit. The sun came out and dried up the countryside. The prairie turned green as ever it gets. Wildflowers bloomed, and the cry of the curlew was heard in the land. Glenn turned Delbert loose, and the hard-luck desperado saddled his glass-eyed pony and loped off to a better life. Or anyway, I hoped he did. I cleaned stalls at the livery stable and helped Bummer, the nightman, patch holes in the roof. The widow Blair bought a ton of first-cutting hay from a homesteader east of town, and Bummer and me put it up in the barn loft for her. The widow baked me a pie, rhubarb it was, and I ate everything but the pie tin it came in. Whiskey and women were never my weaknesses. Well, at least whiskey wasn't, but I believe under the right circumstances I might have committed treason for a fresh-baked rhubarb pie.